Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison D. Carlucci, your Association Manager. If you can hear me, raise your hand, please. Use the raise your hand feature. Good. Thank you. Welcome to the 2024 Tribute Annual Meeting. Thank you all for coming. I told you who I am. Your CMA Tribute team members are Dave Portillo, he's your Operations Manager. Dina McHugh is the Assistant to the Manager at Waterford Point. Cassandra Dobbs is your Administrative Assistant. Amanda Mullen is your Compliance Coordinator. Alexis Skowski is your Lifestyle Coordinator. Lindsay Franco is your Communications Coordinator. And Mike Cawley is your Maintenance Tech. Your board members in attendance tonight are Mary Day, Adam Miller, Christian Teleke, and David Porter. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping items like we do every year. The agenda packet for this year's meeting is available via the QR code you see on your screen. The packet will also be posted on the website after the meeting. So you can download it. That's the standard agenda packet with all the good info. Tonight we will have a Q&A this evening at the end of the meeting for approximately 30 minutes. You will be able to verbally ask your questions tonight. So by doing that, we're going to use the raise your hand feature that you all just used, telling me you can hear me. And Lindsay Franco and Alexis Skowski will be moderating the questions. So on your Zoom account where your name is listed, if you are listed as anonymous, our moderators will not really know who they're calling on. So if you could please have your name listed, that would be great. All right. So tonight our first presenter for you is Chase Smith with the City of the Colony. He's going to give the report on the Lebanon Street Repair Program. So welcome, Chase. Thanks for coming. Chase, can you hear us? Or unmute yourself? Maybe?
Hang tight, everyone. Well, maybe let's skip ahead to the next one and then he can come back on.
Okay, well, we'll come back to Chase then. Our next presenter is Karen Withrow with Manders Maintenance. She's going to give the landscape maintenance progress report tonight. Karen, thank you for coming. Can you hear us?
Thank you, Allison. Yes, can you hear me?
All right, yes, Karen, you're
Wonderful.
on.
Well, thank you for bringing me. I'm glad to be here. I wanted to just kind of start with the recap of what we've done this past year. As far as maintenance-wise, we've really focused the last year on pre-emergent application and really started to get on the front end as far as weed control for hoping to see a lot better results going into 2024 as we start being able to really come ahead with pre-emergence and less on the post side. We had a lot of projects. I think we had up to 14 total, a lot of them dealing with love grasses. So we did big haircuts on love grasses. We did a lot of replacements of the dead love grasses, especially along Lebanon, and started phase 1 of tree replacements and started our mowing schedule with Mondays through Wednesdays, which we will continue to do onto 2024. A lot of the enhancements that we focused on in 2023 were especially down Lebanon and some down Waverly. A lot of the enhancements on the entrances and in the median areas. So I'm really, really looking forward to 2024 to get more onto inside the communities and focus more on the areas where residents are kind of hanging about, parks, pool areas, and that kind of thing. So a lot of 2023 was more focused towards trying to get things, learning the community, try to get things in control, learning where high priorities were that we really needed to focus on, and started basically a strategic plan to help with green up the grass areas and start our phases as far as weed control goes. And now into the new year, on the next slide, we will start focusing on 2024. On maintenance side, we will be doing our pre-emergence and mulching beds and tending to the love grasses before March. Typically, that's when you really want to start looking at your grassy areas and your perennial plant material. So we'll be focusing on that the first part of the year. Porter service will still be there. We're really going to be focusing on preventing weeds this year, especially in the native areas and in the wildflower areas, trying to keep that way more in control. And so we have a beautiful, nice bloom structure and phases, and less of the grassy weeds that are trying to come through there. So Porter service will have a lot more focus on that this year. We'll have mowing bi-weekly. In April, we'll start weekly mowings. In May, that's when really spring starts to kick off. We'll be start having our seasonal flowers. Our spring flowers will be coming up shortly. We're looking to start towards the end of March, is usually when we'll start spring flowers, and then cycle those through for about 8 weeks and then start summer color. So that will be on the first part of this year as well. Really looking forward to, like I said, creating designs more in pools and parks where the residents inside the resident community areas. And we really like to start designs ahead of time so we can start getting those in and getting everything planted before pools open, before it starts to get really hot. So our primary focus is to create as many designs as we can. And get a lot of feedback and get some stuff in so we can get it all nice and pretty and established so everyone can have it before everything starts to really open up for summer. The other thing too is to really continue to maintaining on all the new enhancements that we did in 2023. Watching that plant material, making sure it still has some great establishment, keeping up with fertilizers, again, with the pre-emergence, I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2024 looks like in all the grassy beds. Really hope to put some more different plant material in. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do in the pool areas and in the parks. There's some common areas too, like the little areas I know where a lot of the dogs congregate, those kind of things. I'm really looking forward to focusing on that and making the residents happy. If there's any other suggestions as far as that, I'd love to hear that too. But that's our focus for 2024, and can't wait to put spring flowers in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you for having me.
Yes, appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go back to Chase's piece with Lebanon Street Repairs. And Chase, are you here with us now?
Can you hear me?
There you are, yes.
Hello.
Thank you.
I am
Welcome, Chase.
I'm filling in for Ron Hartline, the engineering director, but I do oversee the lifting and drainage projects that have been going on out there. And the city council has approved $1.5 million in funding for the repair of the concrete panels along Lebanon last budget year. And with that, additional $500,000 for lifting and stabilization of the soils in the bad parts. The limits we're going to be focusing on is between the Bridge Lane, kind of all the way up to Scotty Lake Lane is the area we'll be focusing on. The panels will be determined from field inspections, and half did the field inspection, half engineering. The contractor that is going to be doing the lifting is Eurotech, and the panels that will be getting replaced is Urban. And hopefully we'll get this completed by February of 25, but we're currently lifting and stabilizing the soils now. But Urban is approved for like a package deal with various streets in the city and in the Tribute. So hopefully they will be starting the panel replacement in June or July of this year. With that, Denton County has approved $400,000 in their recent bond program for Lebanon Road, but the city is going to, that's total. The city is going to be matching $2 million with their $2 million to give us $400,000 total. What else?
I'm looking for you, Chase, here. 1 second.
Yeah, that's kind of most of the information. We're just going to be kind of right now going around and finding the worst areas that we're stabilizing first. And then once these panels are stabilized, then Urban's going to come in, remove the panels, and then replace. And then some of the areas we're going to lift just to try to smooth out the ride and get rid of the puddles if we're not replacing those panels.
Chase, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Appreciate the updates.
Anything else?
All right, so we're gonna get to the Ask Karen's here on the landscape, and we're gonna welcome Mary Day with Matthew Southwest. She's gonna give the developer update.
Hey everyone, I'm Mary. I am with Matthew Southwest and also on your HOA board of directors. But just a quick few developer updates for you all, starting with Westbury Phase 6. Westbury Phase 6 opened in December and really is truly our last single-family village phase that we have, so that's pretty exciting. 92 lots, we have 66 50-foot lots, 26 40-foot alley-served lots. American Legend Homes, Britton, and Perry Homes are the builders here. Actually, over 25% have already been sold. These are going very fast. And then if you, Cassandra, if you click on the next thing there, this is just a little sketch to show you that there is a common area there that is proposed for kayak storage that would have lake access near the trail there right off of Scotty's Lake Lane. So we're excited about that, and we'll have more information as that comes to fruition. And the next piece is Chelsea Green. And Chelsea Green, fingers crossed, should be reaching substantial completion in February. We're very excited. American Legend and Britton will be building on the 17 single-family lots along the golf course, 60-foot lots. Grenadier Homes will be constructing the 147 townhomes in there. The amenities in Chelsea Green, which will be open for all Tribute residents, include a pool and activity area. Actually, if you click on the next slide, so there you go. You can see the pool there in the center. A playground area kind of off to the right there where that curved pink area is, and the dog park, which is along the north side there of Bridge Lane, very substantial large dog park. Just a reminder, based on feedback from our resident advisory council, before we started Chelsea Green, there was a request for a playground and dog park within the Tribute, and so this seemed like a great place to be able to put those things, so your community benefit fund dollars are funding those two items. And just to show you a little bit more on the playground, because we did do a focus group with some moms and some grandparents to see what you might like to see in this playground area. So this is an aerial view of the playground. One of the most important thing that came from that focus group is that they wanted rubberized surfaces. So you can see we have that on there so that we got it in. And then if you keep scrolling, Cassandra, the sort of climbing structure, spider web structure, that was another request. And then the last one on here, zip line was a request as well. So we got those all in there. It's a very nice, natural looking playground, and that will hopefully be completed in 2024. Next slide. And then, and that's just a little close up there of the pool area with the pergola and some outdoor dining area and a restroom building. And the restroom building will have doors that go to both the inside of the pool and the outside, so that those using the playground when the pool is closed will still have access to restroom. The Tribute Marina and Park. So we all know over the years there have been many submittals and feedback back and forth between the city and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Fall of 2022, the plans for the Marina and Park did pass through City Council. And then May of 2023, last year, the full package, including construction documents, everything, was submitted to the Corps, and we are currently awaiting their approval. So fingers crossed that that will be happening soon. And when that does happen, we will be reaching back out to everyone to let you know more of the full details of what's involved and timing and everything there. Suntex is still planned to be developing and operating the marina at this time. And just talking a little bit about, a few more pictures of the marina there. Just our future sites. So of our few remaining parcels that are left, we have the 4-acre commercial right there where the circle popped up. And then we have, if you pop that again, another circle is going to come up. That's a 29-acre site off of Bridge Lane. And then one more, which is between the lakeside pool and the marina site, and that's 1.5 acres. The usages for these parcels have not yet been determined. And that concludes the developer updates.
Thank you so much, Mary. Good stuff. All right, next up, please welcome David Porter, your resident board member. Gonna kick off the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you to the business meeting of the Tribute Homeowners Association. I'm going to give you a moment just to read Christian Teleke's welcome comments. Oh, I do need to talk to order.
Oh, we
No.
No,
Here,
one more.
that's fine, I'm sorry.
That's what this is. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So again, this is the business meeting of the HOA, and I'm going to call the meeting to order, and it is 6:21 p.m. Let's go back to the slide. slide just a minute. So I have been informed that, that we have a quorum by all the people who've called in on this, meeting this evening, as well as by proxies. And for the record, the notice of the annual meeting was mailed to all homeowners on January the 6th of 2024. Okay, next slide, please. These are the minutes of last year's, HOA business or HOA meeting, and so I'm gonna let you take a few minutes to, read over those minutes, and while you're reading, then, I'm gonna need somebody to make a motion, and I'll walk you through how we do that here just a little bit. So take a few minutes and just read the minutes from, last year, please. Okay, so I'm gonna need a motion I need somebody to make a motion to approve the minutes. And if you'd like to make that motion, would you please use the raise your hand feature? And the first name that we come up will be recorded.
Harvey Swinto.
Okay? Thank you, Harvey, for making a motion. I now need a second to that motion, and once again, please use the raise your hand feature.
Tina Mounts.
Okay? Thank you for the second. And now I need everybody to lower their hands, because now we need to vote on approving the minutes. So if you're in favor of approving the minutes, then use the raise your hand feature again, and that will be saying aye. Okay? And now everybody lower your hand, because we're gonna see now if there are any opposed to the minutes. I need you to use the raise your hand feature again to vote as nay. We good? Okay, then therefore the meetings are approved, and thank you for, helping on that. Next slide, please. So I want you to meet your 2024 HOA board members. Christian Teleke is a Senior Vice President of Matthews Southwest, and he is the Senior Vice President of Development for the company. Mary Day, who spoke earlier, is a Project Manager and Director of Marketing, and she is also an employee of Matthews Southwest. Adam Miller is the Treasurer of the board, and he is the CFO of Matthews Southwest. Mike McCabe is also a Vice President of the board, and he is the General Manager of the golf clubs of the Tribute. And then myself, I'm a resident, and I'm on the board, and I joined the board back in February of 2021, and I retired from Texas Instruments Incorporated. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to give a little bit of an overview on the 2023 highlights and the 2024 projects. So let's first talk about 2023. And these are highlights of the operating/reserve fund projects. So in the reflection garden area near the entrance of the development, we did some repairs on stone walls, the boulder base, replaced the boulder base rock, added some chairs out there. And then we also had just general community-wide landscaping improvements, and those cost about $55,000 in 2023. And then another project that we did was the wood fence and pergola painting for Westbury Park, Waterford Point, and the Lakeside Pool, as well as ongoing annual maintenance there, and we spent about $24,000 on those. Next slide. These are now the 2023 community benefit funded projects. We did the irrigation improvements along Lebanon Road. I think this time last year I promised that we were going to do that project to stop doing the free car washes on Lebanon. And I can tell you, and hopefully you agree, that that project has been successful in doing that. I have to tell you though, that somebody else took our place with doing free car washes, and that was the city of Frisco, when they did all their median replacements from 423 up to the beginning of our development. So again, thank you for the free car wash on the deal. So we did, controller replacements, we did head change, we did drip tube conversions, and last year the areas was the north side of Lebanon, the Aberdeen Pool, Prestwick Park, south end of the Linear Trail, and the rear portion of channels A, B, and C. We also did some shade structure cover along Prestwick and the Westbury playgrounds. Oh, so let me go back. The irrigation improvements, just so you know, we spent about $498,000 on that in 2023. The playground shade structures were about $145,000. We did ongoing trail improvements to include new signage, decomposed granite along the shoreline trail, and also the signage also included mile markers and directionals and rules, and that was about a $16,000 project. We did a continuation of the 2022 program of residential street repairs with the city focusing on areas where there was ponding, pavement lifting, and drain installations, and that was about $187,000. And then we also did Lebanon landscape improvements, tree up lights at village entrances, and drainage fixes as well, and that was about $217,000. So the next slide. So in 2024, these are the projects that, from inputs of the advisory council members as well as inputs from the staff and the board as well, are the major projects we're going to do that will be funded by both the benefit fund as well as the reserve fund coming from part of your assessments that you pay. We're going to continue the third year of phase 4 of the irrigation improvements along Lebanon roads with controller updates, more drip tube conversions, and also head changes out on Waverly, Channel D, the north end of Linear Trail, Castle Bridge, Lakeside Pool, Bridge Lane, and the Waterford Point Amenity Center. And we're going to spend about $420,000 on that project in 2024. We're going to do some trail improvements of signage and decomposed granite for about $215,000. We're doing the Aberdeen Pool Spray Park replacement, and that's a $400,000 project. And we're also doing a lot of fabric replacement of the pool furniture at the Lakeside Pool, where we're not buying new hardware or frames. We're just going to refabric those existing lounge chairs and seat chairs and regular chairs well, and we're going to spend about $100,000 on that. Mary already talked about the Chelsea Dog Park and the playground in her presentation, and we're going to spend $400,000 on the dog park, and we're going to spend about $500,000 on the playground. And then, of course, we're also going to do continued residential streets with the city, where we contribute $200,000 and the city contributes a like amount in the same. And once again, the benefit of us doing that and spending these dollars out of HOA funds is because in the residential street area, it gets us put at the top of the list and gets us priority over other places where somebody else in the colony may not be financially participating. Let me be clear, the presentation that was made earlier this evening about the panel replacements on Lebanon Road, that is all the city of the colony and Denton County funding. No HOA money will be spent on any panel replacements along Lebanon Road. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna jump in real quick.
Sure.
On the fabric replacements, the $100,000 was budgeted based on not knowing for sure if we would be getting new furniture or fabric replacement. And based on the fact that we are reupholstering, it's actually gonna be closer to $30,000 versus $100,000. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, next slide. So let me just share some little facts and figures that makes this place a great place to live. We've got 85 acres of common area. We have 5,000 square feet of dog park. That number doesn't include the new dog park that'll be going in Chelsea Green. We've got 14 miles of trails, and we have over 1 million square foot surface water channels. And so the homeowners association, the board of directors, we all strive to enhance the community as best we can along this long path that we've been taking all this time. And we appreciate your help and support. Next chart. So these are now the avenues where staying connected is important so that you can be aware of what's going on, day-to-day things, calendar things, activity things. And so if you're not already a member, we really would like you to make sure that you get on the TributeLiving.com website. We've got an app now, and so you can download that to your smartphone. We have the Facebook pages that are not the individual village-related ones, but the ones that are done for the entire HOA. And our offices, where the staff is located 2601 Little Elm Parkway, Suite 504, just right down, just north of where we live on 423. And anybody's welcome to come by and say hello or ask a question or volunteer to do some help. Next chart. Okay, now, it is my indeed pleasure to introduce Alex Scalzi, who's going to do some talking about the lifestyle on the peninsula. Take it off, Alex.
All right. Hi, Tribute residents. I'm Alexis Scalzi, your lifestyle coordinator. I'm really excited to bring you another year full of unforgettable events for all ages. Here is an overview of the lifestyle events calendar for 2024, which doesn't include pop-up events or food truck visits. Please note all the event dates and locations are subject to change. If you have any questions about events, please reach out to me directly and I'll be happy to assist you. This year, we have added more charitable events. The next one being Tour de Tribute, a fun bike event benefiting Tunnel to Towers. So far, this charity drive has raised $710 for the foundation. This upcoming fun bike event is just one of 3 active events that encourage the community to be active together, get outside and explore the trails. There's no better motivation to get active than getting active for a good cause. The lifestyle events will continue to entertain residents of all ages throughout the year, so please stay connected to see what events interest you and the members of your household. You can stay in the loop by downloading the Tribute Living app for iOS and Android to make sure you don't miss any events or important updates. Many residents attended the first Fresh Farmers Market located at Somerset Green Space in August last year. So backed by popular demand, this year we have more Fresh Farmers Markets planned, highlighting local and resident small businesses carefully selected to give you a wide variety of vendors to shop. Lastly, I wanted to thank the Tribute's 2023 lifestyle partners, Stonebridge Health, the agency, and Lakeside Buggies for giving back to this amazing community through lifestyle events. Lifestyle partners of the Tribute help elevate the resident experience at events and ensure you make many memories in this lovely place you call home. Soon we will announce the 2024 lifestyle partners, some returning and some new businesses. Stay tuned for their introduction of the 2024 lifestyle partners. Can't wait to see you at some of the events.
Thank you, Alexis. Our next speaker is Dick Seneschal, and Dick was a member of the Resident Advisory Council in 2023, and he will also continue to represent Tumalo Meadows in 2024. Take it away, Dick.
Thanks, David. These are your resident advisory council members for 2024. We are all volunteers from our respective neighborhoods and serve for alternating 2-year terms. Each of us has a neighborhood email address, which can be found at the Tribute Living website and in the Stride magazine. Please use those email accounts to contact your neighborhood representative with any questions, comments, or concerns you would like us to raise with CMA or the Resident Advisory Council. Next slide, please. The Resident Advisory Council meets quarterly with representatives of CMA and the board who share with us the status of current programs, operational initiatives, and capital projects. They also brief us on the state of planning for future projects and programs, as well as financial planning for the operation of the HOA. As our name suggests, we are an advisory and not a deliberative body. We are able to freely voice our opinions on their presentations, provide recommendations to CMA and the board, and present the consensus opinion of our neighborhood on any common issue. While we don't have any right of approval over the decisions of CMA and the board, these meetings provide a forum for communication and persuasion if it appears that there are issues affecting our individual neighborhoods that are not being addressed. We represent your collective voice and urge you to use us to have that voice heard. Thank you. David?
Thank you, Dick. Appreciate your help on this. Mike Howard is going to give an update on the Modifications Committee. Mike has been a member of the committee for almost 2 years, and we now would like to welcome you, Mike, and start your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Well, as he said, my name is Mike Howard, and I live here in the Tribute. I am currently a member of the Modification Committee. And the Modification Committee is tasked by the HOA Board to oversee modifications, additions, or alterations made to existing structures. The committee was established to help maintain the consistent appearance of the Tribute as established in the HOA guidelines. Projects for improving the homes within the community are looked at with excitement and anticipation as long as the guidelines are followed. The guidelines are, you can access the guidelines at tributeliving.com. With springtime approaching and plans for repairs and remodeling being considered, please remember that you must submit a request to be reviewed by the committee for any change you are planning for the exterior of your property. Remember to submit your request before starting your project. Please read the guidelines, because the #1 reason that requests are denied, believe it or not, is incomplete information. And the information needed is outlined in the guidelines. Sometimes you could find setting up an appointment to meet with the committee before starting a project to be very helpful. Next slide, please. On this slide, you can get an idea of how many applications we see per year. And as you can tell, this year has been a lot of applications looked at. And with that, we ask, please allow the committee ample time to review and reply to all the requests we receive. All the members of the Modification Committee enjoy working with the HOA and all of our fellow Tribute residents to help keep this outstanding community what it is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And let me also just add, and I tell this committee every time I have the opportunity to visit with them, how much I appreciate, as well as everybody else, the hard work they do. This committee has a thankless job. But we need them to do their work in order to make sure the documents are adhered to and that the quality of the community stays at the high level that it is. So Dick, again, thank you for your volunteering, and thank you for all the other members of the committee as well. So now I'd like to introduce Dave Portello, who is our operations manager, and he's going to share with you some facts and figures. Go ahead, Dave.
Thanks, sir. Good evening, everyone. This slide and the next are intended to provide an overall picture of Tribute operations and highlight some annual numbers from 2023. As you can see here, last year, 362 resale certificates were issued, 243 welcome letters were mailed to new homeowners, and your management team processed 2,500 service inquiries. These included inquiries about home property modifications, common area landscaping and maintenance, community pool operations, and general information about the association. Your compliance coordinator is Amanda Mullen, and she processed 949 notices to residents per our enforcement policy regulations. And the top 4 most common violations issued were 201 for not storing away trash cans, 184 for landscape non-compliance, 180 for parking outside of driveways or garage, and 153 for ACC non-compliance of improvements. And these would be modifications to property without prior approval, which Mike Howard had just spoken about. Next slide, please. So please welcome your board treasurer, Adam Miller, to present the Tribute financials.
Thank you so much. Today I'm just going to be talking really quickly about 2023 actuals, 2024 budget, both income and expenses. I know we have posted out there on the CMA site and along with the Tribute website, the summary pages of the 2024 budget. At a high level, here's our first slide. Really, the first 2 slides are going to be income related, and the last 2 are going to be expense related for both categories. It will be denoted in dollars, and the second will be in percentages. And so you'll see here consistent, the 2024 budget is consistent with 2023 actuals, where the lion's share of all the revenues obviously comes in from the homeowners. In 2024, you will see that we have a slightly higher development revenues, which that is largely related to Chelsea Green coming on board in the late first quarter, early second quarter 2024. So that increases the revenues from the builders associated with that development. You'll also notice that one line item, other income, actually has gone down from the 2024 or 2023 actuals. And largely because in other income category, that consists of items like community events that we get revenues from, new pool cards that have to be created. There's fees that tied to that, late fees, and then interest income. For all of those, besides interest income, we really do not budget anything, as that is a complete unknown of what is going to be held and how many replacement cards and late fees. So we don't budget anything in there. Related to interest income in 2024, we're working with some of our lending relationships, not only just at the HOA through our relationships with CMA or Matthews Southwest. We're working to move some of our larger reserve balances and account balances to an institution that charges, or I guess pays a higher interest rate. And so we're hopeful that that number will increase from the budget of 2024. But again, it's just an unknown and not knowing where interest rates are going to go. So we were a little conservative on that side, but there is room there. And then the Bell Merino and the Waterford Point dollars, those are specific for those neighborhoods. So if you just look at really the top 4 line items, that's that cover the overall tribute communities. And you can see there that based off of that, the homeowners revenues consists of about 90% of the overall budget for income. And in 2023, 9% was other income. And then in 24, that was switched over to development revenue of 9%. You'll see these revenues and the percentages here vary from what I just stated, because this is overall, which includes Balmerino and Waterford Point. And so when you include them, and 75% is associated with your homeowner's revenue. The big increase, or the increase that you see in 2024 for the homeowner's revenue, it's about 12% from last year. And that largely is made up from a 10% increase in association fees that is put in place in 2024. I know last year we gave a precursor that it was looking like we were going to have to trend that way after never having a assessment increase in the history of the tribute. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the budget to balance without one. And so we're hopeful that we will continue to work through things in 24, and hopefully we can realize savings on the expense side and maybe slightly higher income. So when we go into the 2025 budget season, we can utilize that information to assess at that point in time if something will additionally be needed in 2024. So with that, we'll move on to the expenses now. So with the expenses, I think you could almost print off the slides for the last several years, especially the percentages, and see how everything gets spent. But the largest portion of it goes to landscaping. You'll see in here management fees, and I know we get asked this question quite often of, what is in there, and what is included in there are the salaries and benefits of all the CMA employees. So Allison and her team are in there. And then there is a per unit, per household fee that CMA receives. And that's the only thing that CMA receives. It's actually not just a cost reimbursement. And that rate is consistent with what other associations are charged. We've looked at that extensively over the years also. But again, you'll see here just the breakout of all the various line items of where things get spent. But the large portion of it is landscaping. That's just about a third of the budget. And as you can imagine, with all the land we have that we're maintaining, it makes logical sense that is the largest expense. The next slide is just the numbers and percentages and how it's broken out between 23 and 24. You'll see they resemble, the percentages resemble each other almost to a T. And so that concludes it for the numbers. My last slide is just a looking ahead slide. I did reference that, every budget season we will be looking into. Our goal is not to have budget increases, but sometimes, unfortunately, with rising costs, it is hard to maintain. Landscaping costs keep going up, insurance keeps going up, and you'll see that if you look at that insurance line items on those previous slides, that rate has gone up substantially. Unfortunately, that's the world we're living in right now, and I think we can all attest to it on our personal lives too, that expenses just are not stopping going up. However, we're doing the best we can to manage our expenses and working on the revenue side of consistently looking at the interest rates. As I mentioned, we're going to be moving a lot of funds over to a new institution in 2024 that will allow us to earn upwards of a percentage, in some cases 2 percentage points higher in some of our dollars that we have in our accounts. So, over a few $1 million, or several $1 million, that really does add up. So we are constantly looking at our income and our expenses to see how we can best balance the budget. And then also in 2025 or 2024, later this year, we will be working on a transition in the HOA board. I believe our first step will be coming sometime in the second quarter. I think we'll be looking to add another community member to add to the board of directors. David has done such an amazing job. And so we're looking to add another community member that will add equal value to the board. And we'll also be working on overall transition of the board in 2024, devise a game plan for that, and probably start rolling out a game plan for that transition. I would say later 24, early 25. I'm not sure when the anticipated true transition will happen, but that process will begin, I believe, later this year worst case, early 2025, but that is on the horizon. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I will turn it back to David and he will adjourn. And then I do believe we have some door prizes and then a Q&A.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate your guidance and your help very, very much. So this is gonna conclude the business meeting, and I'm gonna adjourn that, but before everybody goes away, don't go away, stick around. Because we're going to, have the Q&A session, and after I adjourn the meeting, Allison will probably go over the ground rules again on the Q&A. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the business meeting of the Tribute Homeowners Association at 6:51 p.m. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye.
Thank you
We're
so
not
much,
done.
David. Yeah, no. Thank you. All right, so right now, we've had people join the meeting as the meeting's been going on. So, Amanda and Dina are just now doing the door prize drawing. So hopefully, not too long from now, we're gonna go ahead and move our way into the Q&A. And, we'll take a quick break when we do have those winners available and announce those. So, a little reminder of the Q&A, we're using the raise your hand. If you'll see on your screen here, right, that, sorry, yes. So, again, if you have anonymous as your name, please, put it as your name if you do have a question and you want to be called on. Again, Alexis and Linda will be moderating, so they're gonna go through and start choosing, people to ask their question. Again, I said it's 30 minutes, and Dave's gonna take the time on that, and, first question, we're ready.
Okay, Janet Norton, state your name, village, and your question.
Hi, yeah, thanks. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. It's a compound question. One is, what are the plans for the hotel that had been, originally planned for the Old American? But my second is, more pressing to me. I live in Westbury. What are the plans for enforcing some hygiene at the building sites for the new Westbury phase? Having lived through what happened in our phase, it was kind of abysmal. So just curious if there are any plans for enforcing some hygiene on the building sites.
To answer your question on the hotel, the hotel is currently on pause just due to increased material prices and interest rates and all that. It's just on hold until better market conditions surface. So we will keep you all apprised of that as things change. Regarding the construction sites, really that is something that we talk to the builders about. And the city definitely issues fines and violations when they see those, and we do as well from a developer standpoint if we see that. So if you see something specific or particular, we go ahead and submit an issue into CMA, and they can let us know, and we can definitely reach out to those builders when we see that happening.
Harvey Swinto, state your name, village, and question.
Hi, Harvey Swinto, Waterford Point. Two questions. When the financials were reported, there was a negative retained earnings for the 2024 budget of $337,000. What is that money that's being taken from previous reserves? And then my second question is there a timetable on the pickleball lights? Thank you.
Thanks, Harvey.
Answer about
I can-
pickleball, but Allison, I can
Right.
answer about the reserve. So yes, Harvey, that is in essence what we utilize. Every year when we have excess, we roll those retained earnings into account that can be utilized for future years if we need be, or put in a capital reserve. And so you'll see this year, yes, we're utilizing 337,000. But if you look at, and that's the majority of what the 2023 reserve was. If you look, you see the actuals. I believe that's correct. But we are utilizing reserves. It might not be from 23, but we are utilizing retained earnings that we've had in the prior years.
Yes, prior years. Different than reserve funds, right? Reserve accounts, yes, just to clarify.
Then capital reserve and reserve funds, correct.
Harold,
Wait, and the pickleball courts, the pickleball lighting is a project this year for 2024. Unfortunately, I don't have an exact time frame for you at the moment, but as we kick off projects, your resident advisory council is made aware during the quarterly meetings, and we'll keep everybody in the know as it comes along.
Harold Barano, sorry if I said that wrong. State your name, village, and question.
Unmuted?
Can you hear us?
Carol,
Thanks.
wait.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I hear a lot of complaints in Waterford Point of cell service, and I did work at AT&T, and I'm retired now, but I actually contacted the folks at AT&T, and they said, yeah, that they really had approached. They were really looking to expand the coverage here, and my gut feeling, it's not only AT&T, it's probably T-Mobile and Verizon, that we just don't get a very strong signal here. The reasoning, the thing that I got from AT&T was, well, we had worked with, with the Tribute, and we'd worked with the city of the Colony, and well, the Colony wants more money than what typically is. And then the second piece is that the Tribute really wouldn't allow them to come in and attach small cells on the light poles. So my question is can we do a compromise, or can we get them to be able to put that capability in common areas to expand that coverage? With all the new families moving in, it's just going to get worse if we don't do something about it.
I'm not sure we're quite familiar with the cell service, within the Tribute. We would have to look into that and get back to you on that one.
Well, so I can tell you from my home in Balmerino that if I'm in my house, I cannot get an AT&T cell signal. And so that's why I use Wi-Fi calling on my phone. Allison, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that I've ever heard any talk about putting cell towers on street lights in the Tribute. And if I hadn't heard they've asked, I certainly haven't told them no, or the staff hadn't told them no, so
Correct.
I'm not sure I don't know how to comment on that, because I personally, and I don't think Allison or staff have any knowledge about AT&T requesting that they put cell towers on streetlights. So.
Correct. No, I have not received any word of that or heard of that, so,
Okay. We'll look into that.
Yep.
All right, Clayton Matthews, state your name, village, and question.
Hi there. Yeah, my name is Clayton Matthews. I live in the Locks and Garden, and I too have two questions in addition. The first question is around the marina and reserving slips. Just the lead time on that. I grew up on a lake. I know marinas are very popular and the slips go quickly. And so I was just hoping that as a resident, we would have plenty of lead time to get a reservation for one. Second question is, I do a lot of riding my bike and walking along the dirt trails. And I noticed they only get filled in about once a year. And sometimes after a big rain or just people running their sprinklers, there are kind of massive trenches that form. And if the shadow is just right, they become hard to see. So I was curious if, those would be maintained a little bit better moving forward.
I missed the first part of your question on the overspray. We monitor the heads and we take inputs from anybody. It's very helpful to get inputs from people about the overspray on the streets.
No, he's asking about the trail, right?
Oh, the trail.
Yeah.
Okay.
The person with the marina. He's asking about the trail and the fact that it looks like the DG really only gets filled about once a year, and that it's hard to, like, if there's shadows over some of the ruts, you might miss some of the ruts and kind of how that works.
I apologize for missing that. We are filling in that. We are filling the ruts. We just had that done back in November, and we're actually having it done again here in February in anticipation for the bike event that we're having. So that will get filled. Generally, we get them done 3 times a year. However, this past year we were monitoring the big storms, and we noticed that after a lot of the storms, it didn't seem that it was any ruts that seemed to be dangerous. We monitor that and drive that. I drive it once a month or more just to check it out. So I'm not refuting that there could be, an ankle turner or something, but we monitor how deep those are, and we'll probably will do it more often now that the storms have been bigger.
And definitely recommend that if you do come across something like that, feel free to take a picture, submit that through tributeliving.com, and let them know of the exact location of that so they can correct that quickly. To answer the question on the marina, I do know that Suntex, once we do have approval from the Corps, Suntex would be sending out information to Tribute residents regarding slips. So I don't know the exact details of how or when that will happen, but residents will certainly have, I would guess, a first look at those as soon as they have the information. And I think we're going to take a pause in the Q&A for just a second because we have the winners of the door prizes ready to announce. So if anybody wants to know if they won and don't need to stick around for the Q&A, you will have found out that. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back to the Q&A.
Okay, so first up, we have the $50 Visa gift card, and that is going to Wu Song Chang at 3637 Ladybank.
Okay.
Our second $50 Visa gift card will go to Charles Carlson at 3428 Dunbar. And then we have a golf foursome at Tribute Course. Will be going to Richard Roberts at 3712 Kenaway. Another golf foursome at the Old American Course will go to Barbara Jean at 3000 Avondale. And then the annual assessment that will be going to Alan Palazzo at 8376 Western.
Congrats. Congrats. Yay. All right, Lindsay, back up with the Q&A.
Okay. All right, Binal Patel, state your name, village, and question.
Yes, Binal Patel, Waterford Point. And my question on a finance slide, I see the other income 2023 versus 2024 predictions, like is showing from 250K to 64K. It's almost 75% reduced. So what is the reason like the other income is almost reducing 75%?
This is Adam. I did reference that when I was going through that slide, that is one of the deltas. And so in other income, it consists of things for fuel card replacements, late fees, interest income, community event fees that are collected by the HOA. Outside of interest income, those other line items are not budgeted because there's no way to really budget how many people are going to lose their pool cards and we need to replace. And so we're conservative on that side for not budgeting anything associated with a few of those line items like late fees and pool cards. We do budget a little bit for the community events, but lately the events have exceeded what we have budgeted. And then interest income, again, this year we are looking to move our accounts into higher interest bearing accounts. So hopefully we will see improvement from that 64. Will it get up to the 260 by the end of the year? We aren't certain. But that's what causes that delta, is just a difference between what is budgeted for some of those line items or not budgeted due to the complete unknown of those. And then when actuals come in, if we receive more income because people lose their pool cards, from an association perspective, we're excited because it creates a positive variance for us.
Okay, next up we have Simon N. State your name, village, and question.
It's Simon H. Harrell. It's hard to pronounce, I get it. I just want to clarify. So at the entrance of the subdivision around Scotty's Lake, that development, are they all single family homes or are there going to be rentals?
That community right there at the front is called Cove Bay. It is a community that is in the master plan of the Tribute, but it is not part of the Tribute HOA. It is its own separate area. They are single family rental homes by BB Living. Construction of the homes is by Toll Brothers. Any information on those, we suggest that actually BB Living, once they have the information available on the leasing of those homes, they will be sending that information out to the public, and anyone can ask questions about those in particular with them.
Alex Green, state your name, village, and question.
Hi, yes, this is Alex Green from Waterford Point, and actually a great follow-up to the previous question. So for the rental properties in the front of the neighborhood, obviously they're not directly associated with the HOA, but will they be contributing to the HOA fund given that they'll have access to, a vast majority of the amenities like the trail system?
So they actually have contributed as far as the trail system. That will be their only contribution. And hang on one second, I'm looking for that specific information. So BB Living is obligated to contribute $332,000 to the Community Benefit Fund specifically for trail maintenance and repairs. So that amounts based on $2,000 per unit with a total of 166 units. That occurs upon the receipt of that building permit from the city. So yes, they will be contributing for trails, will not have access to any of the Tribute other amenities.
Dennis Vaughn, state your name, village, and question.
Audra Zahn, Waterford Point, and my question is circling back to two other questions. What is the status of the hotel and frame? And then the gentleman who asked about the marina slips, do we have status on that?
Will you repeat that again for us, please? Well, it was kind of an echo. We couldn't understand.
The second part, the hotel, we did answer that. It is currently on pause. If you would, on hold, if you would answer or state the second part of your question?
Yes. Yes. When is the marina and the time frame?
We did also cover that in the presentation, that the marina package was submitted to the Corps of Engineers in May, and we are just waiting on their approval, so we don't have a time frame on that until we receive that approval.
Steve Kemp, state your name, village, and question.
Yeah, this is Steve Kemp, Balmerino. I just have one question, and it deals with modifications. And as some of you on the board know, we had an issue with the house across the street not following the modification guidelines. And I just would like some clarification on what happens when one does not follow the guidelines? And why do the rules apply to some and not everyone?
So, Steve, first of all, the lawyers won't let me comment on specific cases of another resident with someone else. However, if someone is in violation of anything in the CC&Rs, then there is a process that's followed that goes through a fining policy, a notification policy, a fining policy. And I guess the other thing I would add is everybody has to follow the documents that they received at closing and knew that they had to follow in order to live in a tribute.
Melanie McBride, state your name, village, and question.
Melanie McBride, Waterford Point, and I just wanted to know when phase 2 of Chelsea Green is scheduled to start.
Great question. Unfortunately, we don't have an answer on that yet. The timing is just kind of based on economics and how quickly, you know, the first phase of Chelsea Green goes.
John P., state your name, village, and question.
Yeah, I hope this is it. John Poulos from Westbury. 3 quick questions. Hopefully you can keep track of them. First one, that space in front of the single-family rentals, it seemed like you designated them or you pointed them out as still not clear what that space was going to be used for. So the question is there no plan yet? Second, the kayak storage facility in phase 6 suggests there's going to be a path to the lake. Is there plans for an actual launch there that's suitable? It's very difficult to get a kayak into this muddy, reedy mess if not. And third, are there any plans for a sort of a beautification community thing where we can go around the trails where there's still garbage in some of the more distant areas, not where new construction is, but just in general where the trails are, where you can still see garbage that's ought to be cleaned up. Thank you.
Okay, question 1, that commercial area that is up front off of Scotty's Lake Lane, that is correct. We do not have usage determined at this time for that. Question number 2 was?
Question 2 is the kayak storage
Yes.
facility space, will there be a launch?
So the plan is not a formal launch area, but that there would be a mowed path that would go down to the lake on that. And then as far as organized cleanup, you know, first and foremost, if you do see areas that with heavy trash, please do notify CMA through tributeliving.com, because we do have porters that take care of that trail and clean up. But there's always opportunities too. I know residents have gotten together for cleanups. I think Alexis is organized or can organize, you know, as part of the sort of charitable living of the tribute for those things as well.
Tina Mount, state your name, village, and question.
Tina?
Okay, next person, Rick Colomer.
Yeah, Rick Colomer, Waterford Point, and my question is to the HOA board. What's the status of the lawsuit for the amenity center at Waterford Point?
The lawsuit is in progress, so most I can tell you right now. I mean, I know that we do, Dina gives updates on the weekly emails to you guys at Waterford Point there, and it is in process. It is, that's the best I can tell you right now.
And Rick, I hope you appreciate, like, when we have active lawsuits, like, we can't comment on anything if it relates to a common area amenity or individual households and owners. Like, we just cannot comment. And that's not because we don't want to provide information. It's in lawsuit and we just cannot say anything.
Okay.
Amy Kithian?
Hey, Amy Kifune, Gardens. Question about the locks pool. Are there plans to, like the lakeside pool, the reupholster of the furniture, are there similar plans for the locks pool?
Not at this time. The furniture there is of a different product that's really held up well over the years. It's a heavy duty type, wicker type product. But it is something we look at every year, and if needed, excuse me, it could be a future year project, just like this year for Lakeside.
Lori T.
Hello, can you hear me? This is Laurie Turkelson from Waterford Point. Easy question. Is the dog park going to be for big dogs or for small dogs like the one in Westbury?
The Chelsea Green Dog Park is a very, very large dog park, so I believe dogs of all sizes will be invited and welcome. That's it? Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for your questions.
All right, this concludes our question and answer period. And on behalf of the Association Board of Directors and your tribute management team here, we'd like to thank you for your time, your participation. It's a privilege to serve you, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.